What is up? This is the Plug Podcast, Music and More with Bushy, Metal Mike, and we have a special guest. Who we got here?
Um, a a guy who's at least when it comes to nerdgasms, he's pretty regular, and that's my nephew, Kain Tyler. Welcome to the Plug Podcast, nephew of mine.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can almost see you.
Right? It's like it's like a fog, a haze, man. He looks ethereal.
I know this webcam goes back to like the ancient times. Well, maybe not, it's like the 90s or anything, but like the 2010s.
Early aughts.
Yeah.
He looks like he's looks like he's having a clam bake right now, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Looks like he ought to be on that 70s show in the circle when they're all getting high.
Yes.
I was thinking the same thing, yeah.
Or you know what? They do the same thing on that 90s show too.
I
gotta say,
it's a great fucking show, by
on
the way.
your advice, I watched it and I went right through all three of them. It's not bad. It's not nearly as good as the original.
It's not as good as, but I still thought, my attitude's like, if you're a fan of that 70s show, you're going to like it. I liked it. I mean, but then, I love Red and Kitty.
Yeah.
Like Red's literally my father. I swear to God, he is. That's Gene Tyler to a T almost.
I think that's every father that's of a certain age. Mainly ours.
Well, like there's the one episode where like Hyde took the fall for Jackie with the weed and Red kicked him out. Because remember, he had nowhere to go. They took him in. And Kitty's like, well, don't you have something to say to this young man? Expected him to go, hey, man, I'm sorry I misjudged you. He just goes, yeah, right, Kitty. Dumbass. And then he like eats his ass for like half an hour or so. And another time, I'm like, oh, that's my dad.
Yeah.
Dead out. That's Kane's grandpa. Dead out.
Yep.
That's funny. Funny stuff.
I don't know if you've even seen it, but they got a meme where he's sitting at college with, how they got that thing where they'll have something or other and it'll say change my mind.
Good.
Yeah.
That's not.
It'll say you're a dumbass, change my mind.
Nice.
With Red sitting back there. I'm like,
I think it's about as good as that 70s show.
you really liked it?
Yeah.
Cool.
The same. It feels like it was written by the same people.
It really does. I mean, what cracked me up about it is how there would be people that, like, I love the whole Kevin Smith being Chon's son. I thought that was a cool touch.
I can't wait though.
Huh?
I can't wait for that part. I haven't got.
Oh, fuck! I'm sorry. I gave something away.
Spoiler.
I just spoilers.
I'm on episode 7 right now.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Nice.
First season.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'll watch it when the next season comes out if they make another season.
Frasier's also pretty badass.
I haven't seen the new Frasier yet.
I haven't either, but to be fair, I didn't like Frasier the first time around.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Were you a fan of Cheers?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was one of those spinoffs I didn't think worked.
All right.
That worked great.
For me, I mean, obviously it was a hit. It was on for many years, but
Yes. Say your opinion, much like my opinion, like on things like the Black Album, is in the minority.
yeah.
Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one.
And they all stink.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of which, man, I do want to give a shout out to Edwin Canistracci. He gave me and the Metal Mike show a shout out, me and Bill, because we got that Facebook group page and Bill had posted a picture, which was really cool because it was Ozzy Osbourne, Mike Patton, James Hetfield, and
Saw that picture.
yeah, and there's a video that went along with it because they all perform like war pigs and shit with Ozzy, and it's fucking awesome. And
Cool.
yeah, it was just really, really cool, man.
That's sweet. Yeah, Eddie, he's a buddy. That dude is met face to face. What the hell is his name? Eric Jordan, RSVP. Sorry, Eric.
Yeah.
He's been out to see him in Asheville, and that's only like 49 miles from me. I never.
Well, isn't Eric living down there now?
That's what I'm saying. He's 49 miles away from me, and I have just not had a chance to get over to Asheville. The only time I'm there anymore is for work. If I have to help transfer it into an appointment.
but there was a oh, that's hilarious.
Mike gets reading the damn internet when we were
Hold on a minute. I'm looking, man.
forget.
Fucker.
How come I can't chew gum and walk at the same time?
And yet I'm a nurse. How it works, I don't know, but I make it work. Okay. Edwin made a video basically called "Is the Black Album a Bad Album?" And what he's saying about is objectively, is it good? Is it bad? And what started it all off was this post that Bill had made in the Metal Mike Facebook group page. And Edwin had made a comment about how he loved the early 90s. And I kind of agree with him. Well, I don't just kind of how eclectic music was in the early 90s, because that was before the blanket washing, as I call it, right, where you could be a fan of Jane's Addiction and Motley Crue if you so wished, and nobody cared.
Yeah.
And
yeah, when did we all get so fucking salty and old? Because I remember in the 90s, I was listening to that kind of stuff, and then I would listen to No Doubt. Because
yeah, I mean, totally
at that point, there was a lot of good music that leaned more to the poppier side.
Well, for me, that's why I get a little irritated when people want to bag on the 90s, and I'm like, the 90s is just like any other decade. You got your good and you got your bad, and I mean, in a way, what happened though is kind of similar to what happened with punk rock in the late 70s. It made metal kind of reinvent itself. And from that, you have the new wave of British heavy metal. And for bad or worse, you have alternative metal and new metal too, that came out of that, from what I'm talking about, the grunge scene. But yeah, and alternative, because with it was like, I mean, Eddie Trunk complains about it all the time. He even said it in the Ronnie James Dio documentary, that all of a sudden the fucking radio station that he was working for said, we don't want you playing Dio anymore. Like, they lumped Dio in with all that other like hair metal stuff, and Dio's not hair metal, never has been.
Right.
Yeah, Bill posted this. What a strange picture. Mike Patton dressed like a Domino's worker, and the way he's looking at Ozzy is super weird. Then what the fuck is Young MC doing in this pic? He needs to bust a move out of it. But this pic represents everything I love about the early 90s. And there was a guy, Jason Boo, said, wait, you liked Metallica in the 90s? Laughing out loud. And they just kind of go back and forth from that. It just became this whole Black Album discussion. And the thing is I've watched both videos, and I think both Edwin and Jason both have some legitimate points. I'll have you guys watch the videos yourself to think, but it was just really sweet, because not only did Edwin give me a shout out, but he had a picture of me and Bill and Marky and a link to the radio show and the station. And Edwin, I just want to tell you, brother, I really appreciate it. And as anyone knows, I was one of those ones that felt very betrayed when the Black Album came out. I'm not going to candy coat it and lie and say I didn't. Over the years, I've kind of mellowed, where I'm like, there's some good songs on that record. There really are. And I understand, the thing about Metallica in a way is I understand them slowing it down and simplifying it. Now, to me and my taste, I felt like they went too far in that direction, because a lot of people go, well, Cliff Burton probably would have went along with that. He wasn't just a pure thrash guy. That is very true. But like Edwin said, now, if you want to make the argument, would it have been better if Cliff had been alive? More than likely, yes. I don't think more than likely. I think totally, because Cliff was the one that he was kind of the mentor to all those guys. He was a little bit older. He was actually a student of music. Like, he understood music structure and theory and how it worked. And he would help arrange a lot of their songs. So I definitely think if what happened to Cliff didn't happen, the Black Album, as it came to be known, would have probably been a lot better. Again, though, that's going to probably have to be a future What If episode, bro. But anyway, I just wanted to thank Edwin for shouting out to me, man.
Nice.
And and like I said, I'm not as hard. I mean, there's still some songs on there I'll never like Enter Sandman. Sorry, folks. Yeah, I'll never like a lot of that song. But there's some deep tracks. There's some deep cuts on that song that are really, really good. So it took me reviewing the album for the Rock and Metal Combat podcast a number of years ago. For me to go, you know what, man, this ain't really that. It's not like, I'll tell you what, it's a hell of a lot better than Load and Reload, and we'll just leave it at that.
Right. Yeah.
Man's riff and the music, I think, is really good. The lyrics fucking suck.
For what?
Inner Sandman.
Oh yeah. Well, it's
the music's pretty damn good if it wasn't Metallica.
Maybe that's part of the problem is I think, but I also understand that was an album that was a gateway album for a lot of people that were younger than me. Timeline is everything. And that was their Metallica. It was their first Metallica. And they went back and listened to the other stuff and loved it too. So you have to realize it, and you cannot deny the impact of that. Dude, that album still sells to this day. They must have done something right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. And Edwin believes what?
He fucking loves that album.
Almost yes.
My age.
Yes. Yeah, your age, your generation, sure. And the other thing, as I was going to say, Kane, is and a point that Edwin made out is everybody wants to blame Nirvana and grunge. He seems to think the Black Album had something to do with some of the hair metal going out too. That kind of opened the door. I don't know, I know that the party ended for people like Bushy, but
so there is some hair metal that I actually really like.
Hey, I love the first, even some of the second wave of glam metal. I don't really like the term hair metal. And because I'll tell you why, especially for the good bands,
it's just the same thing, really.
But to me, hair metal was the thrash guys that started that. And it was a put down. It was. Now there's some people like Stephen Pearcy. He's like, fuck it, I embrace it, whatever. And that's cool too.
It came out of pure jealousy because these dudes were getting their dick sucked constantly, and all the thrash guys were waiting for they have to find the last chick in the club that's so sloppy drunk, has 3 teeth, to take home.
Yeah, I'm sure James and Lars and them don't ever. Yeah, they never get laid. And at the end of the day, who won? Who's the biggest metal band? Maybe it wasn't all thrash, but they did it. They did it, man. And they're huge. They are. You can't argue with that.
They weren't very pretty, though. You look at it, thrash bands, they're not.
Well, neither was Lemmy, but Lemmy got laid all the time. So.
Yeah, but Lemmy oozed cool.
Metallica didn't back in the day. You're telling me Cliff Burton wasn't fucking cool, dude?
Yeah, he was cool.
All right.
Lars has never been cool.
Yeah, Lars is kind of a dork. He's like that metal dork.
Yeah.
But hey, and that's another thing. You'll have these guys that sometimes do the whole, well, it should have been Lars instead of Cliff, which to me makes no sense because quite honestly, it was Kirk and Cliff that drew cards on who was going to get the top bed of the bunk beds.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I think they just use that as an excuse to hate on Lars. But again, I don't want to get in the Metallica vortex any more than we already have.
Yeah, we're
here to talk about something else.
Yeah.
And if you want to edit this shit out, some of it you can, Bush.
No way. No way. We're music and more. We've done music. Now it's time to do more.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, you had a question that you said, hey, let's bring Kain in on this one. And
he's done past Nerdgasm episodes and he's pretty knowledgeable about this stuff. And but yeah, I thought it was time to, we're back now and it's time to do another Nerdgasms episode.
Absolutely.
And who better than my nephew, man, who's not just into comics, but likes the anime and the manga and likes all that stuff. And
I like pretty much everything that's nerd related.
Huh?
I like pretty much anything that's nerd related.
Right. You're a big gamer too. So
I do all the way up to the cartoons. That's where everyone loses me.
Okay. You wear me out sometimes, Bushy.
I can't help it. I can't help it. And every time I try,
Did you even try to watch Fire and Ice, motherfucker?
No, I completely forgot all about it.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Please watch that movie. I think you'll like it, dude. It's not your typical animated movie. If you like violence and dude, Kain, talk to him, man. Tell him.
Fire and Ice is Conan.
Yes. I mean, it's fucking amazing, dude. Just watch the fucking movie. You got Amazon Prime, don't you?
Yeah, I got Prime.
Yeah, watch it.
We'll see.
It's your fucking homework, dude. Just trust me on this. Just try it out. Try the first 5 or 10 minutes. If it doesn't grab you, then you can say, hey, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Metal Mike. But I'm telling you, I think you're going to like it. Okay, let me ask you this. Did you ever like the animated version of The Lord of the Rings?
No. Never.
Have you ever seen any? Have you ever seen any of Ralph Bakshi's movies, like Wizards?
I have Wizards. I actually like Wizards.
Then fucking watch Fire and Ice because he did that too with Frank fucking Frazetta. With Frank Frazetta, dude. Need I say more? Huh?
That's hot right there. To Frank Frazetta draws the Death Dealer and everything. Did a lot of the Conan pictures.
Frank Frazetta. Need I say more?
During that 6 months,
that ought to make you go into total nerdgasm right there, dude.
During that 6 months that I didn't have any internet here because Zito Media sucks, and I'm going to keep reminding you people that Zito Media sucks. I did watch Wizards again, and it was like, no, this still holds up, even though it's from the 70s and ridiculous.
Well, Fire and Ice is from the early 80s, but I really, really do think if you like Wizards, dude, I think you're going to like this too. I mean, it's kind of like the best way to describe it is, I can't say, well, it's like a Frazetta painting coming to life. It's not. It's like a Frazetta comic, like when he did Thunder back in the day, which was kind of like a Tarzan knockoff. It's like that. It's like seeing Frank's pen and ink work come to life. What, Kane?
If I'm not mistaken, the backgrounds are Frazetta paintings.
They are. The backgrounds are too. Yeah. It's really cool, dude. Just trust me on this. And you will fall in love with the character of Dark Wolf. He's badass.
Dark Wolf.
Yeah. Think of Batman if he fucking lived back in, the Hyborian age.
Have more of a Batman meets Hawkman kind of.
Yeah. I see some Hawkman in there too.
Yeah. Eat steel, scum.
Right. Anyway, so basically the reason why I thought we could do Nerdgasms was, we all know that, comic book movies are kind of in a flux right now. I think Marvel kind of peaked with Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. Since then, they've been kind of sporadic. There's been some good stuff, but there's been some so-so stuff and not so great stuff.
I think
now I do think, though, getting the Russo brothers back to do the next 2 Avenger films is a plus. Getting Robert Downey Jr. back to play Doctor Doom, I'm in. Because a lot of people thought, he's going to play an alternate Tony Stark. No, he's going to play Victor Von Doom. I'm all in. Can't wait to see it. I think RJD is an amazing actor, and I think probably the only way he probably just wasn't interested in playing Tony Stark again. Probably wants to do something else. They got him back. And to me, when it comes to the Marvel films, I do think the Russo brothers are the best directors because they did the best Marvel movies, in my opinion. Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame. Now, the first Iron Man movie is fantastic too, and Jon Favreau directed that. But I'm talking overall. After him, I would say it's James Gunn. And James Gunn was like kind of the number 2 guy at Marvel films. Well, now he's Discovery merged with Warner Brothers. You know how it is nowadays. All these companies, they merge, they split up, they do this, they do that.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen because a lot of people think Discovery's only doing this so they can sell Warner Brothers off. Some people think they're going to do it piecemeal. There's been rumors that maybe Comcast or somebody like that's going to buy DC Comics, just the whole thing. Right now, though, the one thing they did do that I don't totally agree with is that DC has its own studios. It's its own thing. I think that's a good idea. And he made James Gunn and Peter Safran both the co-CEOs. I think Gunn's doing the creative side of things and Safran's doing the bean counting money, the money side of stuff.
Right.
I like James Gunn. I think James is a very talented guy. I really enjoyed all 3 of his Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I know tonally.
I don't even remember a third one.
You haven't seen the 3rd one yet, Bushy? It's great.
I've got the first 2.
You need to watch the 3rd one. You need to watch it as soon as possible, dude. Kane, am I wrong? It's really, really good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really good. I think it's better than part 2.
See,
it might be as good as part 1. It's that good.
This is the funny thing about Guardians of the Galaxy. I struggle with it. I've gone back and rewatched the first one. and it was better than I remembered. I remember when I first watched it, and I was like, "Well, look at that! There's 2 hours of my life I can never get back."
Oh, really? You didn't like it?
I did not like it.
Oh, okay. Well, interesting then.
But
Okay,
when
okay. Now we're getting okay.
when I went back, because Fandango at home used to be Voodoo. They were having a sale, literally a sale on a lot of Marvel movies. So I grabbed those two because I've got most of them here digitally, but all I have is 1 and 2. I went back and watched 1 again. I was like, okay, it's not as bad as I remembered. I definitely prefer them in the Avengers movies and such. Those characters, I don't know why. The second one,
I'll tell you why. The Russo brothers are better directors than James Gunn. I just said Gunn's number 2 around there.
yeah,
That's one reason why. I think also I like those characters. I think for me, I was really impressed with what Gunn did because, dude, be honest with yourselves. I know you're a comic book fan, but when you were younger, but you're more of a casual guy. Like you probably had no fucking clue who the Guardians of the Galaxy was before that movie came out.
Not a clue. I wouldn't watch it forever because I was like,
now think about that. He took a property that was pretty obscure to Joe Blow and Jane Blow. Like they didn't fucking know. Anybody on the street, you say Guardians of the Galaxy, they're gonna go, what the fuck you talking about, man? They wouldn't have known. And for him to do what he did and make it very successful. I mean, think about it, dude. That year, Guardians of the Galaxy made more money than I think, was it the first or second Amazing Spider-Man film? It was one of them. Now think about that for a minute. Spider-Man, one of the big, I mean, come on, dude. He's huge. It's Spider-Man.
yeah.
He's iconic. He's fucking Spider-Man. That was pretty impressive to me that he was able to take that and he used the modern day version of the Guardians of the Galaxy because there is like a 30 or 31st century version of the team, which is kind of like the descendants of the original team. Actually, I kind of like that kind of book better, to be honest with you. And it's more serious. The Guardians of the Galaxy, even in the comics, was a bit more serious than they were in the films, but James has that thing of, let's be honest, he does a lot of humor in his stuff. And some people love it, some people hate it. I do like it. But I give Gunn credit for one thing, because I remember when he did Peacemaker and somebody posted on what is now X, well, this is not DC. And Gunn's reply was he posted 4 different graphic novels. One of them was Dark Knight Returns. The other one was Watchmen. The other one was Swamp Thing. And then there was another one that was the Justice League, but it was the late 80s version that you love so much, Kain, the more humorous version of the team. Yep. The Justice League International. And he said, DC isn't just one thing. In fact, no comic book company is. And he's absolutely right about that. Like I've already heard that when they do the Swamp Thing movie, it's going to be a straight up horror film, as it should be. So I don't think, I think a lot of people were worried like the Superman movie he's working on, it's just going to be a bunch of dick and fart jokes. And I don't think it's going to go that far. Now, there's some things about this movie I'm trying to be open-minded and go, okay, I'm going to give it a chance, because at the end of the day, man, I've been known, like I think all of us, to rush to judgment sometimes. Bushy, like, you know what I mean? Like okay, I'll be perfect. Here's a perfect example. When I heard that Heath Ledger was going to play the Joker in Dark Knight, I was like, fucking Knight's Tale? Homosexual cowboy is going to play the Joker? I didn't see it. I didn't think he was right too pretty. The Joker in the comic book is very tall, gaunt. I was just like, this guy's going to play the fucking Joker. But when I saw the movie, I got to admit, I was blown the fuck away, man. So you can't always tell what's going to work and what isn't going to work. And I remember people freaking out when Affleck got casted as Batman. And I was after seeing what Heath Ledger did, I was more open-minded. I thought, you know what? Ben's a good actor. He's a hell of a director. And he loves the character. Yeah. Batman and Daredevil are his favorite comic book characters. And I'm like, let's give the guy a chance. Let's give him a chance, you know? And then once I found out that Zack Snyder wanted a more older, grizzled Batman, more like the Dark Knight Returns version of the character.
Yeah.
And I know Batman v Superman especially the theatrical cut. And I think that's what hurt that film. It was just confusing. If they don't cut that third, I know you wouldn't think half an hour would matter, but they cut such, in my opinion, pivotal storyline scenes out of that movie that I all I can say is this: whenever I've told people who didn't like Batman v Superman, I'm like, go watch the Ultimate Edition.
Yeah.
They'll come back to me and go like, Mike, it's almost like watching a different film in a way, because it's like,
it's funny because I don't think that I've ever actually sat down and watched the theatrical version. I've got it.
Yeah.
But when I bought it,
Mm-hmm.
why the hell am I going to watch the theatrical version? Because the uncut versions, no matter what they call it, ultimate, whatever they want to call them, director's cuts, whatever, they're always fucking better. Every day.
Most of the time, yeah. Well, look at the Lord of the Rings. Like, I think the extended versions are much more better than the theatrical versions. But I also understand why some of that stuff got cut out, because the theatrical version, some of those movies are like some of them are 3 hours long.
Yeah.
So I get that. I get that. What I don't get is, and believe it or not, like from what I understand, Snyder even shot more footage. He says the Ultimate Edition is really not his director's cut. That was the version, though, that he intended to be shown in the theater.
Wow.
And I feel like they shouldn't have cut it. That's my problem with Warner Brothers. They shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kane? I mean, what are your thoughts about James Gunn and all of it? Like, because it just seems to me that, like, I don't understand Warner Brothers as a studio sometimes. They'll let people like Denis Villeneuve do Dune and let him do his thing, which he did a beautiful job, I think. I think he did a beautiful job with Dune Part 1, Part 2. But yet, when it comes to their DC properties, it's like they micromanage, and it's like, if you hired Snyder or whoever it is to do it, get the fuck out of the man's way and let him tell his story. That's how I feel. I honestly believe that if he would have left, think about it, if they'd have left Zack Snyder alone, the DCEU, as it's come to be known, would be over now. And you would just, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if they leave that alone, they would have had their cake and eat it too. You would have got that. And I do think it would have made money, and I do think it would have been successful. So I'm telling you right now, if they don't cut Batman v Superman down, I think that movie's $1 billion maker. I think it, globally. It was shy $1 billion, and they looked at it as a failure because, after all, it's Batman Superman.
Yeah.
But if they left that movie alone and let it go as it was supposed to be, I think that movie breaks $1 billion. Even though I don't think it's a flawless film, I think it's a very good film. There are many things about it I love. The one thing I don't like, and I think we've talked about this before, old boy as Lex Luthor doesn't really work for me. For me, he doesn't. I mean, I think that guy's a good actor, but I didn't really care for his Luthor. But other than that, and we're talking Ultimate Edition, I think it was a really, really cool movie. I dug it. I like Man of Steel overall, even though, thank God, this new Superman movie is not going to be an origin story. We don't need a fucking another origin story for Superman, folks. We don't. Not at this point. We really don't. So I'm okay with that. But I know you have reservations, Bushy, Kane, whichever one of you want to go first. What are your thoughts?
Go ahead, Kane.
I was how do I put this? I love the DC films, but I also think there's a lot of flaws in them. Batman v Superman was great, but the Ultimate Edition is the definitive version.
Oh, for sure.
Man of Steel drives me nuts because Henry Cavill is a fucking great Superman. But they made him into mopey, depressed Superman, and that's just not who Superman is. They tried to kind of Batmanize him or something. I don't know what the fuck they were doing.
I don't know if I would say they were Batmaning him. I think they were trying to make him more grounded.
They were trying to make him dark. They were trying to.
I think they were trying to tell a story of. It was almost like an alien. Because Superman is from another planet. Like, how people would react to somebody being from, and find it, you know what I mean? It was, I forget what the name for it is, but you know what I'm talking about, when an alien comes to Earth, like First Contact. It's kind of like a First Contact type story.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I don't mind it much because it was in the beginning of, I mean, he literally is just becoming Superman. So I kind of understand what Zach was doing. Now, there was a few things in the movie that I didn't like the way they killed Pa Kent. I think that was stupid.
It was a terrible thing.
Yeah. I mean, not that I had a problem with Pa Kent dying, but the whole point of his death was that was something even Superman couldn't stop. Even he couldn't prevent that.
Heart attack.
What?
Could have been a heart attack.
That, well, yeah, like it was in the original film, the 78 version. I mean,
I didn't mind
that they did something stupid. I think they just wanted to be different.
Yeah, probably. I will say this though, some of the fight scenes, but Zack Snyder's great at that. I mean, his movies are total eye candy. The visuals are beautiful. The design of Krypton, even though I was like, man, do we really need an origin story? I loved their version of Krypton. It was very much lifted from the comics. I thought Michael Shannon made a great General Zod. There's a lot of things about the Man of Steel that I did like.
There is a lot of that I did like.
I mean, and I think we all feel that way. Like, I don't, because
it's fucking amazing.
I mean, one of the things is for me is because usually with that movie, people either love it or hate it. And I think you and I, Kain, are kind of like, we liked it overall. But there were things about, or like, well, I would have done it differently. But hey, I'm not a big shot Hollywood director. Zack Snyder is. So, but I was going to ask you, because
movie is flawless.
Huh?
The original Superman movie is flawless.
I would agree with that. Especially when you consider when it was made. Yeah. I mean, it's the blueprint for, even Kevin Feige at Marvel Films says that that's his goal with every Marvel film. He uses the Superman movie as a template.
Yeah.
So, Richard Donner did a beautiful job, especially for the time, man. I mean, that movie was made in 1970, filmed in 77, I think, 76, 77. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? Jesus, man. But
everything about it is fucking amazing, man.
So my question to you guys, though, and you just said you didn't mind the way they killed Pa Kent Bush.
No,
you were okay with it.
Yeah, because this Pa Kent, you actually got to spend a little more time with him.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of nurturing. There was a lot of, trying to explain to this kid, look, it is not going to be easy. It doesn't matter how powerful you are. It is not going to be easy to live in this world when everyone knows you're not of it. And that whole scene where it's a tornado coming in and he's runs off to help people. But holds Clark back. No, let me go. I really dug that take. I know it's not right. The heart attack thing. I know that.
Well, and look, I like my biggest
so much more.
I'm sorry, bro, but if I had superpowers, I'm not letting my grandpa fucking die in a tornado. I don't give a fuck about anybody else.
Right. I mean, I just felt that I know Clark's really young at that point in time. So I know what you're saying, Bushy, but for me, and I know Jonathan, and he's always been protective of Clark. I mean, that's right out of the comic books. Like, one of the most touching parts of that film is when he finds out who he really is, and he's like, and he says something about not being his son, and he looks at me and goes, "You are my son."
Yeah.
Like, that got me in the feels, because at the end of the day, I mean, that's why Superman is the hero that he is. It's because of the way he was raised, dude. If he wasn't raised by those people, Mr. and Mrs. Kent, you'd probably get Homelander from the boys or who knows what the fuck, man. Like one of the, and so, yeah, for me, it's like I said, I know Zack Snyder's take. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. Some people were like me, where I'm like, well, I like some of that. And but overall, I did. I love Zack. I mean, I thought he did a brilliant job on Watchmen. I love Justice League, his version.
Yeah. The big 4-hour version.
It was amazing. It was amazing, man. And I think that's what he was trying to build up to that.
Yeah, the Justice League, the Snyder version is.
Yeah, because even his version of Superman that's Superman to me. Like, okay, we're finally getting Supes where he's Superman.
No longer mopey Superman.
Right.
I just think he's brooding. I don't think he's mopey.
That's what he calls him. He calls him mopey Superman. Cracks me up every time, man.
He's my favorite Superman. He's my favorite. I'm so fucking mad at DC for getting rid of everybody I like.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the controversial thing, isn't it? They bring, and here's what's weird is because you have Warner Brothers Pictures, who's ran by, I think, Pamela Abdi and Mike DeLuca. And then now you have DC Films, which is run by Safran and Gunn. And the fucked up thing about it is they do Black Adam. It made money, but it wasn't quite the hit I think they were hoping.
Cameo Superman at the end of it. So I'm looking forward to that fucking movie.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. And then they tell Henry, he gets on his Instagram and announces, hey, I'm back. I'm going to be Superman. Yes. I'm really, really extra excited for this. If I fault Warner Brothers Discovery and this has to go on David Zaslav. He's the guy that ran Discovery. They're the ones that bought Warner Brothers out, Warner Media, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Hold on. What was that, Kane?
I think it has everything to do with Black Adam. You see, Henry Cavill came back in that. He made a bit of a cameo, and that was supposed to be his epic return. But Black Adam was a kind of a big giant flop.
Well, and I'm going to get to that in a minute.
Oh, good.
I'm going to get to that in a minute, Kane. But I do think that Zaslav dropped the ball. He's the boss.
Yeah.
Buck stops with him. So maybe you should have told Abdi and DeLuca, hey, don't make any fucking announcements about who's going to be Superman yet. Because it seems to me like the left hand and the right hand didn't know what the fuck it's like nobody knew what was going on, because it's like next thing you know, and also I heard, now I don't know if this is true, but one of the reasons why they're doing what they're doing, it's not that James Gunn doesn't like Henry Cavill. It's the fact that, now that Discovery's taken over Warner Brothers, they're trying to save money. Warner Brothers is bleeding money, folks. They're bleeding money. They are not doing good. Neither's Disney, for that matter.
Right.
And I think it's like it would be cheaper to get a brand new actor to play Supes, brand new actor to play Batman, which they got Robert Pattinson, but that's not part of what is now being called the DCU, because that's the thing. My biggest problem, though, with Gunn was the fact that they made it out like this Flash movie was going to be the jumpstart into the new DCU. So it's almost like, and that's not what happened. We got that weird ending with Clooney as Batman. Like, okay, I'm on the wrong Earth, and that's it. It was like, what in the fuck is going on here? And they already said, well, Clooney's not going to be the DCU Batman. Thank Christ.
I loved him as, I'm not going to lie, I loved him as Bruce Wayne.
He made a great Bruce Wayne.
Didn't like him as Batman at all.
And you know what? Believe it or not, back in the day, people call me crazy. I know everybody's going to blast me because of Robert Downey Jr., but if you look at Tony Stark from the comics, I think Clooney would have made a great Iron Man, or a great Tony Stark. Let's put it that way. The good-looking billionaire playboy. I
think Michael Keaton's a great fucking Batman. It's a shame that the movie was kind of crap.
Who?
Michael Keaton.
I'm not gonna say it was. I don't know, man. Batman. Look, Batman '89 is flawed, but it had its moments.
Stupid near the end.
But yeah, I agree. They lost it.
Joker pulling out a giant long revolver.
Yes, Kane. I agree with you 100% that it was almost a mixture of the Adam West Batman with the Dark Knight, the Batman I love, the real Batman. Real, I'm using quotes, but you know what I mean. But it made a lot of money. It was very successful.
As corny as the comic books used to be, it was never that corny.
Yeah, but I'm wanting to get more focus on their future here. Like, because I know a lot of people, and I wasn't happy about it either. I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I think he's the best Superman since Christopher Reeve, hands fucking down. And I've enjoyed just about all the guys that played Superman. Like I love George Reeves. I think he was the perfect guy at that time.
Yeah.
And I'm still suspicious about his death. I'm not convinced that was a suicide, man.
Watch the movie Hollywoodland.
I have.
Good film. No, another great bat flick film.
Yep. Yes. But for me, I just kind of feel that
Black Dahlia was pretty good too.
who?
The Black Dahlia.
Oh yeah.
That's what it was called.
I'm so concerned with this new Superman movie. It's because I'm pissed off it's not Henry Cavill.
A lot of people are. But there was one other thing I wanted to mention real quick, if I may. Kain, you had said something about Black Adam. Here's part of the problem. When people found out that cameo, when Henry Cavill shows up as Superman and he's wearing the red and blue suit and they have the John Williams score in the background, I guess there was some, okay, I'm a Zack Snyder fan. I love most of his work. But you also got what you call the Snyder tards. Like it's like his version is the only one that matters. And if you even deviate from it at all, I'm like, why can't you just be happy that Cavill's back as Superman? And a lot of them said, well, we're not going to go see it. And they boycotted it. Well, now you fucked yourselves.
Yeah.
Because look what happened. I'll tell you what happened. Black Adam, if Black Adam was a bigger hit, we're not having this discussion. Cavill's still Superman.
Right.
Yep.
Then I think fucking Zavlov would have said, James, make it work. However, you got to remember, money, dude. They would have had to play Cavill more. They'd have to play Ben Affleck more. They're wanting it. Also, he says he wants a younger Superman, which, okay, fine. Because Cavill is getting past 40. Yeah. Looks great for his age, by the way.
He could easily pass for maybe mid-30s, early 30s.
Oh, for sure. But maybe, I guess my point that, but then I'm hearing these rumors like they're going to do this Green Lantern series called Lanterns on Max, where they got Jon Stewart, the Black Green Lantern, and Hal Jordan. But there's rumors they're going to, and I love this guy. I absolutely love.
What, Guy Gardner?
No, Guy Gardner is going to be in the Superman movie, but he's not in the Lantern series. He might show up in it, but it's Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. They're talking about having Josh Brolin play Hal Jordan, and I'm like, wait a minute. You said that Cavill was too old to be your Superman, and I love Brolin. And don't get me wrong, I think could he play? Hell, I think if you want to get an older grizzled Batman, like the Dark Knight Returns Batman, Brolin would be perfect for that.
Can you remind me who Brolin is?
Thanos, Cable.
All right. I know
that guy. He's great. I love Josh Brolin. Got a beautiful voice.
What was his name in the Goonies? He was the big brother in the Goonies.
Oh.
That's how old he is. No, that was fucking
Mikey's brother. He was his big brother, but I can't remember what his name is.
Either. No, I'm thinking it's Brent McCormick, but that's Footloose.
But I'm a little so it's almost like, okay, James, now you're kind of talking out of both sides of your mouth. Like,
I know that
Cavill was too old, but you're gonna and nothing's been confirmed. These are all rumors, so we can't just fucking fly off the handle with it when it comes to that. I mean, I'm willing to give this new Superman movie a chance, but in some of the things that he says that he's inspired by the source material, the stories, I'm like, wow, those are some of my favorite Superman stories. So I'm hoping it's going to be great, but I am a little worried about some of it too. Like, I just don't know. Like, I'm not blown away by the costume. I know most of those are pictures that are on the set. And I remember when I first saw Tom Holland as Spider-Man for Captain America Civil War, and I was like, well, then, later on with the computer, they clean it up and they made it look more, like it's supposed to, because sometimes what they want is they want functionality over look, and then they add the look later, and they can do that now.
Right.
So I'm hoping that's going to be the case with Superman, because it just looks awfully baggy on him, and I don't understand, because dude, there's literally video of this dude working out. He got ripped for this.
I know it actually looks like
he even looks like a younger Cavill. Like, he looks like Henry Cavill's little brother.
Right.
It looks like pillow muscles. It's fucking hilarious.
It looks like what?
Looks like pillow muscles. Like,
exactly. That's what I fucking hate about it.
Yeah, I'm not blown away by it either, guys. I'm kind of like, oh my, I don't know here.
Underwear still.
But again, I remember even seeing some of the pictures of Heath Ledger as the Joker and going, well, why is he wearing makeup? And I don't know about all this. But then when I saw the film and I realized what Nolan was trying to do, I think Nolan was trying to do a more grounded take on Batman and his world. And let's be honest, if you fall in a vat of chemicals, your skin ain't gonna turn bleach white and your hair green and you're gonna fucking die. Okay. Yeah. So the idea, which was really one of the inspirations for the Joker, there was a movie with a German actor by the name of Conrad Veidt. He played the Nazi villain in Casablanca. He had his mouth cut where he had these huge, and it gave him this smile. And if you watch the film, dude, it's his hair split black. It's the Joker, dude. And Bob Kane and Bill Finger's like, that's kind of where we got the idea for the Joker. So I'm okay with what Nolan did, obviously. I mean, I think Batman Begins and Dark Knight was some of the best Batman movies I've ever seen.
I've seen footage of behind the scenes footage of when Cavill was playing Superman.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't look like he had puffy muscles. He looked like
I mean, but again, and they don't even have a cape on the behind the scenes footage. It's just him in that costume. And it kind of looked a little weird to me, but when you see it on film,
not that weird.
But no, dude. Like I'm telling you, okay, to be honest with you, I know this is going to sound awful, but the new Superman costume, and this is no disrespect to him because I love him, but it kind of reminds me of George Reeves' Superman costume.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very hokey, very fake.
Very 1960s.
And that's fine in 1950 fucking 6 or 57. Yeah. Not now. So again, I'm still going to reserve judgment until I actually see the film. I'm hopeful, but there are some concerns because it's like, okay, you're going to do this reboot of a DCU where it's different, but yet you're keeping some of the same actors, but not all of them. That doesn't make much sense to me either.
Yeah, because aren't they keeping Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman?
No, I think she's done too, dude.
It's called money. That's the reason.
I think it is money. I think it's money. I think it's all about money. I think that's wise because they're
all established actors in their roles. They're going to get paid to do it. You know?
Right. And justifiably so. I think that maybe what bothers me is I just wish they would have done like a hard reboot. Like, okay, there's the end of this version, the beginning of this one. Because now what you got, as much as I enjoyed Peacemaker, now from what I understand, Peacemaker 2, I don't know how he's going to do it or how he's going to explain it, but this is supposed to be part of the new DCU. So does that mean Peacemaker 1 never happened? I mean, it's just, to me, I think it's going to confuse some people. And it's not that people are stupid. We get the whole concept of parallel universes. I mean, I've been reading about it in science fiction and comic books for years, and it's now become like a mainstream thing. But my point is, if you're going to have like some of the, like the gal who played, and she makes a great Amanda Waller. But it's confusing to me because it's like, okay, so Cena's still Peacemaker. I don't know. It's just kind of like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, is this to me, it's like, if you're going to do a reboot, then don't be a pussy, do a reboot.
Right.
That's just my opinion. They're kind of doing a soft reboot. And I just don't know, man. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the quality of the films and the stories they're telling that's going to matter.
Yes, and I'm going to watch the new Superman because I'm a Superman nut. You know, I've been watching Smallville a lot.
Smallville was great, man.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I didn't think I would. I'm about, I don't know, 4 or 5 seasons in. You know, and I've got them all. It was another one of those bundle and save deals that I took. You know, I'm a Superman fan. I'm a Batman fan. I watched the Batman thinking I was going to fucking hate it because I can't stand Robert Pattinson. And that's a completely biased opinion based on glittery vampire dude. That's literally all it was based on. I finally saw The Lighthouse and I was like, man, maybe I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah, no, I mean,
the Batman.
He did those movies.
My favorite fucking Batman movie now. I think it's the best one. I don't.
What are
Batman.
your thoughts about the Penguin series that's coming out? I think it looks like it's going to be really cool.
I can't wait. I love this mobster gangster fucking.
And may I say something? Honestly, the thing that kind of bugs me about this whole reboot too, and again, it's nothing against Gunn, and I realize that the guy doing the Batman wants to tell his story, and I'm a big fan. Like I loved what he did with the Planet of the Apes franchise,
Yes.
Matthew Reeves. But part of me's kind of bummed out that this ain't going to be our Batman in the new DCU. It's like, so we're going to have
Another Batman.
another Batman. It's like, okay. And I know they're probably going to hold off because that movie's going to be called The Brave and the Bold. Love that because that's an old Batman team up title. I'm cool with that. They already said that the name, he already has clarified that when they do their Superman Batman movie, it's going to be called The World's Finest or World's Finest because that's what their comic book was called years ago. And I'm fine with that. I don't know though. I again, it's just kind of like, but I guess I get it. Cause see, the thing was, as much as I love the Batman, I would have loved to have seen what Ben Affleck was going to do with his version.
Yes.
Cause that's why Reeves was brought in. He was brought in because again, the idiots at Warner, they were on his, well, what are we going to film? We got to do this. We got to do it. He's like, guys, I ain't even done with the fucking script yet, man. And he's still trying to finish Justice League and you're up his ass about like, I'm telling you, man, the people that fucking ran that company are fucking morons when it comes to their DC properties. They have no idea what they're doing. I thought maybe with DC Studios,
they wanted it now.
Yeah, they wanted the MCU. They wanted a cinematic universe. They wanted it overnight. And that was the problem. That was the problem. And the only way you can do that is by making longer films. That's why Justice League is 4 hours long, guys. Zack Snyder's version.
Yeah.
That's why Batman v Superman's like 2.5, almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know, the ultimate, because you cannot have a whole cinematic universe overnight and have any kind of cohesiveness. Like nobody's going to care. Nobody knows the care. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can do a 2-hour Justice League movie, but is it going to be that good? Well, it wasn't really that great, was it? Especially when you watch Snyder's version. So it's ego and fucking impatience and greed is what killed the DCEU. Period.
Yeah.
You know?
That second Aquaman, I love.
I haven't even watched it yet.
The second one, I'm not a fan. Not a fan. And I really wanted to like it. Because like I said, I really liked the first one. I was like, Momoa is a good fucking Aquaman. I liked him in the Justice League and all that. But boy, it just the second one just fell flat for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't even watched it yet. I mean, I'll probably get around to it eventually, but so I know you have reservations. So
That movie was global warming.
Yeah.
Well, can I ask you guys, what do you think? How do I put it? Do you think Gunn? Do you think Gunn's going to do some? Is it going to be a mixed bag? Do you think he's going to do a good job running DC along with Peter Safran, or do you think this is a disaster in the making again, or maybe a little bit of both? Is DC going to be more consistent?
Kind of guy. I'm actually pretty hopeful. I'm hopefully optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic. That's
okay. Okay. Yeah. Same here. I'm still willing to give him a chance. But I'm still kind of like, I don't know, man. You know, like it's going to be hard, man. Henry Cavill. It's funny, as much as those movies might have been divisive to some fans or whatever, everybody loved Henry Cavill as Superman, even the people that weren't really fans of Man of Steel or Batman v Superman. You know what I mean? So it's going to be, I mean, this kid, David Cornsweet, man, he's got his work cut out for him, you know?
Big boots to fill.
He sure does, man. He sure does. I mean, even though Superman, like, I think the guy who played him I haven't watched the series yet, but I got a friend of mine, Rob, huge Superman fan, and he loves it. He says Superman Lois is great. And he said that the budget's a lot bigger than the other CW superhero shows. And he really, really likes it a lot, you know?
Yeah,
so
I got to say, now I haven't seen anything past season 1. I own season 1.
Oh, so you've seen season 1?
Yeah.
What was your thoughts?
I enjoyed it. But they do try to teeny bopper this shit. And that's my problem with CW's fucking DC series anyway. is the teeny bopper fucking aspect. I even had to get past that bullshit with Smallville. Okay, because I'm watching this and I'm like, fuck, man, I'm almost.
But Smallville, at least the first few seasons makes more sense because he's in fucking high school. It is teeny bopper shit.
But I mean, the Flash. I went through and watched the Flash series, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I thought
I've
not
Arrow, and it had potential in the first couple episodes, and I was like, Jesus Christ, here we go again.
Yeah, I mean, I think
that's my problem with these.
I think that the most of the TV shows were pretty well done for the budget and the restrictions they had. Like, believe it or not, there was a while there where they had an edict that you could not have the same character. Like, they couldn't have their version of the same character that was in the movies.
Right.
So they were kind of hamstrung, for one. Two, I do think it is a very much a CW thing because, interestingly enough, the guy who's kind of trying to bring back Dark Shadows with Dark Shadows reincarnation.
Oh,
it was originally going to be a CW show. Yeah. And then they said, no, we're not going to do it. And he said that was good in a way because now he was able, he goes, because with the CW, they were going to try to teeny bopper it out. And he wasn't a big fan of that. And now he can do more of what he wants to do. And he's shopping around to different streamings, to see if,
people that like Henry Cavill are going to be a little disappointed at what I'm about to tell you.
Oh, yeah. What?
That Warhammer 40K series, it got canceled.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Amazon wouldn't pick it up.
That sucks, man. That sucks to hear because I think he would have been great in that.
He would have.
And he's a fan.
Warhammer, right?
Huh?
Said he plays Warhammer, right? We're talking about the game?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he plays. I was watching a clip from whoever that British or Irish guy is over there in the UK, does a late night show. All the funny bits come from that.
Graham Nolan?
Yeah, him. Graham Norton.
Graham Norton, yeah.
Yeah, I like the hell out of him. He makes me laugh.
Yeah, he's funny.
Avalon, and one of the clips is he's talking about that, how he paints his own figures up and shit. Big nerd.
My best friend's son, he calls me Uncle Mike. He's like a nephew to me. He's really into that stuff. He's got a huge collection, man. And there's a lot that goes into it. And I'm like, my God, Aaron, like this kid's got the coolest fucking man cave I've ever seen, dude. Nice. It's like
some of those figures are like 100, 150.
Oh yeah, more, some of them. But the one thing I love about Henry, and I think the reason why the fans love him so much is he's one of us. He's a fan too. He's a nerd too. He's a geek too. Like, to him, playing Superman was a dream come true. It's his favorite comic book character.
Right.
So yeah, it kind of sucks that what's happened.
Favorite faction in Warhammer is?
Huh?
You know his favorite faction in Warhammer is?
No.
It's the Salamanders. They're a Space Marine group. They're the only fucking.
I don't know a whole lot about Warhammer. I think they look really cool. The models, the dudes in the armor, the monsters. I know it's really steeped with a lot. It's got its own what do you want to call it, mythology or lore.
They are the only Space Marines that are kind of heroes.
Yeah, kind of is the emphasis though. I don't know if there is any really good guys in Warhammer, from what I understand.
The closest thing would be the Salamanders.
So
because they will die to protect normal people.
Right on, man. So my question, though, I guess, or so you seem like you're really skeptical, Bush. Like, I know you're pissed off about what happened with Cavill, and I get it. I get that.
Yeah, like I said, the production still.
Hold on. What? Hold on, guys.
Well, and I don't edit videos, so all this goes on YouTube.
That's cool.
Let's see. Let's see that. Well, hell, I'm gonna take advantage of this time. Sorry if you guys tune away at this point. Go get me a cup of coffee real quick. I'm going to mute this because I'll be banging around and shit.
I thought you were gonna say I gotta go take a piss.
No, I'm gonna get a cup of coffee. I still haven't eaten supper. I gotta make supper after we're done with this.
All right, man.
10 o'clock at night.
Sorry about that, guys. You guys there?
Jeez.
Yeah, Bill's sick, man. He's got a bad strep throat infection.
Gotcha.
And he's a little alarmed because his temp's not breaking. In fact, it's getting higher. He's 103 now, 103.1. And I said, well, when's the last time you took Tylenol? Because I told him to take Tylenol and ibuprofen, like alternate.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, I was about to take a shower, but it's not breaking, And I said, well, look, dude, if you feel bad enough, I can take you to the emergency room.
I'm gonna take a cold shower.
Yeah. Well, he's going to.
Crazy. Anyway.
Yeah. Sorry about that, man.
Send him my well wishes. Yeah, I don't edit fucking video, Mike.
Huh?
I said, I don't edit video, bitch.
Well, then I don't know what to tell you, man. I've actually thought about asking Edwin Canastracci, hey, what video editing program do you use? I've thought about maybe, looking into that,
Right.
Doing more YouTube stuff.
Nice.
I'll be back.
Holy fuck, you're doing it again.
Gotta give me a fucking drink, dude. I'm fucking thirsty. And I didn't do shit. Blame Strep Boy.
You were out there already once. Well, my coffee's done brewing. Thank God for Keurigs, right?
Yep.
Oh, lordy.
Man, that's some hot coffee, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the reason why I say that is I can see the freaking stain.
Yeah, it's good stuff. That's one thing about that machine. It comes out hot. It's not like when you make a pot and it seems like it doesn't get hot until you've already had 2 or 3 cups because it's been sitting there on the burner,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of old coffee makers or whatever.
I am, but I was getting to the point. It used to be I could sit back and drink a pot of coffee, make another one, and drink it. And yeah, I've had 2 or 3 here.
My buddy has a coffee maker where you put like a pot in, and it just makes coffee instantly.
That's what this is, makes it by the cup. You buy them little K cups. It's expensive as fuck, but
yeah.
Per cup of coffee, it's more expensive. All right. So what is that new Superman called? Legend of Superman, I think.
It was going to be called Superman Legacy, but now he's just changed it to Superman.
Okay.
Which is the first time, because even the original Superman, the 78, it's actually Superman, the movie. So this is the first actual movie actually just called Superman.
Okay. I got you. And he'll already be established, which is fine.
There's a lot of cameos in this movie too, man. It's one of the complaints the fans have. Is this a fucking Superman movie or what? Because it's like you're going to have like members of the Justice League apparently appear. You're going to have like quite a few cameos in this movie.
Right. I don't care. I don't know. I want to say I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm really cautiously, I don't fucking know. I'm going to watch it. I really hope I enjoy it. The guy doesn't have the build to suit me. And maybe the chick he's got playing Lois Lane is really tall or he's really short. Something doesn't look right about their chemistry, but it's only from production still. So what do I know?
And I'm sorry, man. Production still, especially when it's taken by somebody with a fucking camera phone, ain't shit. There's been so many times I've seen production films from other movies where I was like, yikes. And then when you see it, you're like, oh, okay. So I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock in that. It's just a few fucking, there hasn't been that many pictures. Yeah, I'll admit it's kind of like, yikes. I'll admit that. But I'm not going to just put a whole lot of stock into that.
And that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, I guess at the end of the day, we just got to wait and see, man. You know,
I'll tell you the things I absolutely don't like about the suit so we can get past that suit. I don't like that brought the red fucking underwear outside again. I don't like that. I've always thought that was silly. I thought it was silly when Batman had the fucking underwear on. It's just fucking silly. At least starting with the Michael Keaton films, they got that right. Take the fucking underwear off. So I don't like that. I don't like the stupid yellow S on the back of the cape because that's so Saturday morning cartoon. I don't like that at all. I don't like the puffy shirt, like a fucking Seinfeld shirt. It's like, why do you have puffy muscles, dude? Not a fan. If it's an homage to George Reeves, fair enough. I think if anything, that's accidental. I don't think when they were designing the suit, they were thinking, maybe this would be an homage to George Reeves. No,
right? Yeah,
I fucked up.
Like I said, Bushy, I'd be a liar if I said I wasn't underwhelmed. I'm underwhelmed.
The things I do like that are interesting is, and I've seen some frames from comics showing this particular version of this Superman. The curly haired thing where it looks almost shaved around, real short. Okay, so they're taking from comics, taking a look from a Superman I know nothing about because I haven't read comics since I was 14. So that intrigues me what they're going to do with that version. But is he going to be one of these woke millennial pussies that I have no desire to see as a superhero?
No, I mean the one thing they have said where I'm like, that's the character is they said Superman is old fashioned. He's kind hearted in a world where people mock that. And right. You know what? They're absolutely right. In today's world, the world sucks, man. Superman, and that is the thing. Like, people have to understand. Like, I don't know. I get tired of people that sometimes want to bag on old soups. Look, I love Batman. He's my favorite DC character. I love the dark characters, but you also have to have characters like Superman to balance that out. I don't want 100 fucking Batmans. Okay. And I love Superman. I always have, now, when I was really young, I thought, well, that's my dad's hero and Spider-Man, Batman are mine. But when I saw Superman the movie, that's when I kind of fell in love with the character of Superman. And James Gunn said his favorite comic book movie of all time is Superman the movie. So, and the thing is I hope he's inspired by that, but he doesn't do what Bryan Singer did, where it's almost like too beholden to that version of Superman.
Are we talking Superman Returns?
Yes.
Yeah, I enjoyed that, and I really like Kevin Spacey's fucking Lex Luthor a lot.
I liked it, but I was like, but we've been here before. Yeah. I know everything that I saw in that movie was shit I'd already seen, and it was just like, well, I just felt like it was going through the motions.
Well, to me, it made sense because it was made to take place 5 years after Superman 2. We completely forget about 3 and 4. 4 we can forget about because it was just awful.
It's fucking god awful. No, I don't have a problem with that, Bushy. But okay, here's the other thing. Why Luthor is the villain again? Like, we hadn't had enough.
Did you say Superman 4 was awesome? The Quest for Peace.
Awful.
Awesome.
Quest for
awful.
Peace. Fucking great.
Awful.
Great. What fucking movie did you watch?
He's fucking.
I watched the comedy, man.
Quit trolling. Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I know what you're trying to say, because I'll tell you what, I think
so bad it's good.
Yeah, you know what? Batman Forever and Batman Robin are like that. They're so bad it's almost good. God, those movies are atrocious.
So fucking terrible.
But no, I'll wait and see. I'm the cameos. I mean, I guess if this is an established Superman moving towards a Justice League, okay, maybe that makes sense. We'll see. Who are they going to have playing these guys? I don't know. I know the Flash pissed me off so bad. I had to watch it, and I'll watch this. The Flash pissed me off so bad. I just didn't like what they did with that. And I absolutely hated that they showed Nicolas fucking Cage, who never portrays Superman on film. He had a couple pictures of him in the super suit. And
Thank God.
they ignored Henry Cavill. You know, that irritated the fuck out of me. I don't need to see 75-year-old Batman jumping and flipping. It's completely fucking unbelievable. But everybody's like, oh, Michael Keaton's the best Batman. You're so fucking wrong because it's Ben Affleck. You know, there's so much about this universe that has pissed me off. I haven't liked the Suicide Squad movies, either Suicide or The Suicide. I didn't like that Birds of Prey. I mean, to me,
yeah, I thought Birds of Prey sucked, man.
Yeah, to me, DC just falls flat all the time.
They have here lately, especially. But I think part of it is like they don't know what they want. They don't know what they want to be. They don't know what they want to do. They don't have the one thing I will say about James Gunn, I think, and the fact that it's going to be DC Studios, like they have a plan. It's all mapped out. Like he's already said, like this is just chapter 1, and this is just part 1 of Gods and Monsters. That's what he's calling it. And I do love that title. I'm like, very cool title. We all know where he got it from, right? Frankenstein. But I'm like, hell yeah, man. I mean, I think, and some of the things that he's talking about doing, I think he's got some good ideas. And the guy's very creative. Like I said, I loved what he did with the Guardians of the Galaxy. And I really enjoyed Peacemaker. As crazy and offbeat and fucking weird as it was, I did like it.
Peacemaker, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kane, man, because we can't hear you when you pipe in.
Oh, I've always really liked. I've liked pretty much every movie of Guardians of the Galaxy. The second one is my least favorite, but I like them all.
Nice.
So, does that give you any hope that this new DCU is going to be good, Kane? Do you think Gunn's?
I think Gunn's going to kick ass. I'm a little skeptical with the Superman because I don't like the puffy costume. I'm sorry. That's got me really worried.
I'm hoping a lot of that'll be cleaned up in post-production, kind of like, because I'm telling you, man, Tom Holland's costume looked fucking horrible when they had pictures on set. I was like, oh my God. But then when you see it in Civil War, you're like, oh, okay. I'm hoping that'll be the case with this.
It didn't look nearly as bad as Spider-Man and the Chinese Web from back in the 70s.
Well, God knows, but no, that's not, that don't count, dude.
With the silver web slingers on the outside of it.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Not web.
But what I just think that, I mean, I'm willing to give Gunn a chance. And this is a guy who's a fan of both Zack Snyder and James Gunn. Yeah, it's possible to like both directors, folks. It is possible,
Yeah. And I like them both too. And I like the stuff he did with Marvel. I am not going to lie. I like the stuff he did with Marvel. Like I said, I had to go back because the first time around, I felt like I wasted 2 hours of my life. I didn't get it.
Wow. See, I loved it. But then again, I mean, I grew up with the comics. I know the characters, but I still think Star-Lord is hilarious. And I think Chris Pratt, is that his name? Or
yeah, Chris Pratt.
Yeah, did a great job. There's rumors that he might be playing a DCU character. I'm kind of curious of who they have in mind.
I never knew anything about Guardians of the Galaxy. Hell, I didn't even know it was a Marvel thing.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And look what Gunn did. I mean, whatever else you can say about the guy, you got to give him credit for that, because now that's a huge Marvel IP. None of that happens if he doesn't do what he did.
That's how obscure Guardians of the Galaxy really is. I didn't fucking know about it.
And he did say, he goes, and this is no mark against Marvel. He goes, but Marvel had a plan, but it was like more abstract. Like, okay, we're going to go here, there. And then they would fill in the middle, and they would change their mind. Cause like, believe it or not, they actually had to rewrite Captain America Civil War, because originally Spider-Man wasn't going to be a part of it until they made the deal that they made with Sony. And then they were like, and they were all like, we just wrote, nope, you got to rewrite it. Got to have Spider-Man in there. So they had to redo all that, Now, obviously it paid off for them, but the way Gunn's talking is they've got this shit, and him and his team of writers, because he's got a bunch of people. He's got people hired. He hasn't even told us of who's going to do what. They have it all mapped out.
Yeah, he definitely has. He has what it takes to turn it around. He really does. We're all of us that have grown to really like these people playing these characters. We're the ones that are going to have to decide, are we going to embrace it, Or are we going to say, man, fuck this?
Well, here's
so
my thing.
saturated with superhero movies. We're done.
And there is that concern though, but then when you have a movie like Deadpool and Wolverine that breaks $1 billion, it shows that I don't think that genre is dead. I think the thing is, though, there was a while there, especially in the case of Marvel, where it was quantity over quality. And now with DC doing the reset button, with DC Studios and James Gunn and Peter Safran doing what they're doing, and I think Marvel's Disney and Marvel's kind of pumped the brakes a little bit. They're like, okay, hold on, because they needed to, because they were just putting out, they were, in fact, it was so bad that they had effects houses basically complaining like, we can't get this shit done when they want it done. Like, we can't get it. And I think that's why shows like She-Hulk, where the special effects look kind of hokey, because they were just churning it out there, shitting it out there, if you will. It's not going to work, man. Like, I think people will still go see these movies, but they got to be good. You got to put quality stuff out there, man. You got to make us care, because if you don't, I mean, I would hate to see comic book movies go the way of the Western. Now, since then, of course, they've made some Westerns and they made some good ones, and it's kind of made a comeback somewhat. But I mean, man, when I was a little kid, and even before our time, Westerns were everywhere. Yeah. And people just got burned out on them because it was just cowboy movie, to where people are like, fuck, enough with the fucking cowboys, man. And I'd hate to see that happen to, I mean, and that's one thing that kind of does piss me off about Hollywood is they want to do all these IPs, but they don't want to take any chances, like Kain pointed out a while back. Remember that, Kain, where it's like nobody wants to bring anything new to the table. They still want to keep, they either want to do things that's based on an existing IP like Marvel or DC or what have you. What pisses me off is there's still all kinds of great IPs out there that they could make great television series and movies, like the Amber Chronicles by Roger Zelazny. Instead of
Lord of the Rings,
Amazon wasting their time with the Lord of the Rings prequel. Like, I love Lord of the Rings, but you're never going to top what Peter Jackson did. Okay. Just stop already. Yeah. Just stop. Like, what you need to do is take all that money and do the fucking Amber Chronicles and get somebody to do it who's an actual fan of the source material. Like Denis Villeneuve with Dune. Get somebody who actually gives a fuck, like Peter Jackson gave a fuck about the Lord of the Rings. Like, get somebody who cares. Because I'm telling you, dude, there's actually 5 books. There's 10 books altogether. There's 5 with Corwin and there's 5 with Merlin. The Amber Chronicles is fucking amazing. It is a great story and would make a great street. You could do the first book, 9 Princes in Amber could be season 1. The Guns of Avalon, season 2. I know it would be successful if they did it and did it right.
Right.
There was talk that they were going to do a whole thing of like Conan, where it was going to be his whole life. Like, because the thing about Robert E. Howard, he didn't write his stories in chronological order. He would have some of with Conan as old man, as a young man, as a middle-aged man. Where this guy his goal was to take, he was going to take all of, hold on, King. He was going to take all of Conan's, Robert E. Howard stories and tell everything in linear fashion. Wow. And I and that would have been amazing, man, because I've never felt like, as much as I even liked the Conan movie, the first Conan movie, I still feel like, and I know this is probably going to bring some hate, that it was somewhat flawed. As good as it was, I'm like, okay, they just took a bunch of different Conan stories and threw them together.
Yeah. They did the same thing in the Jason Momoa version, and I'm a big fan of that one too.
Yeah. And I just feel like, to do Conan justice, it would be better as a streaming series. I still feel that way. And what was you going to say, Kain?
I can't remember.
I'm sorry, man. Well, and of course, there's the Polity novels by Neil Asher. That would make a great series. There's so many cool IPs they could do that are new that no one's else done. Hey, here's an idea, guys. Come up with your own ideas. I know there's this one dude. He's done this new horror series. He's done like 3 or 4 parts, and I've not seen him yet, but I know Edwin Canistracci's a fan. And the latest one is the main character's like a porno star, or she gets into porn or whatever. And I'm like, man, I got to watch these movies, man, because they sound pretty fucking crazy. But I think that's what we need more of that, though. We need people who are going to either come up with something new, or if you are going to do an existing IP, bring something to the table, do something different with it, do something, like I've not seen it yet, but I heard this new Alien film was actually pretty cool. And what it is it's an inter-equal is what they call, because it literally takes place between the first Alien film and Aliens. I'm like, good. Because
Nice.
Alien and Aliens are the only ones that are really worth a fuck, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
But be that as it may, that's where I get, and Kain, you pointed that out a long time ago. Like, I mean, back in the day, you had things like Ghostbusters, you had things like that are now all these huge IPs, but they weren't always, they were original. And
right.
I mean, that's where I get irritated with Hollywood sometimes. It's like, like how many times are you going to remake Invasion of the Body Snatchers? Come on, man.
How many times are they going to make a fucking Terminator film?
Right.
And it's going to suck just like every other one. There's only been 2 fucking Terminator films that have been worth the fuck. The first one and Judgment Day.
That's about it. I agree.
I like them all, actually, and the Sarah Connor Chronicles. I dug it all.
Oh, that's cool.
But look, I'm easily entertained. Let's be real. With the comic book movies, I stopped reading comic books, like I said, when I was around 14 years old. I like seeing them on the big screen. Black Adam was one of those that I didn't know anything about the fucking character. Watched the movie, loved the movie. It's like, oh shit, Cavill's back.
And the only complaint I had with that film, and this falls on The Rock, and I don't understand why, because Black Adam is definitely part of the whole Shazam mythology, and he like wanted to distance himself from that. And I'm kind of like, and I think in a way that may have hurt the film. Like I didn't get that. I'm like, dude,
I don't know. Like, Shazam hurts the film.
I didn't mind the first Shazam film. I've not seen the second one. I heard it wasn't very good.
It's garbage. And I had to watch the first Shazam like 4 times before I was like, okay, yeah, this is good. I didn't keep sitting through it because I didn't dig it. The second one's garbage.
I've not seen the second one.
I'm sorry to say.
What?
It's because The Rock is a dildo. That's why.
Yeah, well, I like him. I liked him as Black Adam. So.
Oh, I think he made a great Black Adam. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I think that, if you're trying to create a DCU, a cinematic universe, I mean, having Black Adam without Captain Marvel, and I'm talking the original Captain Marvel, because that was his name, folks. It's just kind of weird to me, but that's because I grew up with it. I mean, even their origins are linked.
Right.
So it's like, and I always.
The Rock is a great actor. I do. I just don't like him as a person.
I don't know the man one way or the other, so I can't really say whether I like him or not.
A fake ass. He's a fake ass.
But dude, but that's Hollywood. They're all fake, Chris. I got news for you, man.
He's just a bit more fake than the rest of them.
All right, man. I mean, like I said, I don't know. Maybe you know something I don't. But then I don't really even pay attention to their personal lives because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's how.
It's like
entertain.
Yeah, just to entertain me, motherfucker, and otherwise, bye-bye.
So
anyway, man, I guess
Legacy or whatever is going to be called Superman.
Yeah, what's going to be called, I think, Superman Legacy or something like that, but now it's Superman. But I guess we've all kind of come to the same conclusion. We have our apprehensions, we have our, reservations.
When you guys watch the animated stuff, I was going to check out the new Batman, and they pissed me off right out of the gate. I don't care if you're going to have if you're going to take a character and switch their gender, whatever, but they're not even trying. They're not even trying. It's like they specifically made this motherfucker's name Oswalda Cobblepot. You're not even trying. It's blatant disrespect to the whole fucking character of the Penguin that I won't even give that cartoon a try. Fuck animation. Now, is that part of this DCU? Do they link their cartoons with their fucking movies?
Okay, here is the deal with that. That is its own separate thing. That is why it is on Amazon.
Gotcha.
It's done by the guys that did the 90s Batman the Animated Series, which I love, by the way. I think that's one of the best versions of Batman that's ever been done. I don't give a fuck if it is a cartoon. Batman Mask the Phantasm is one of the greatest Batman movies ever made. If people would give it a fucking chance, but hey, that's a whole other story. Where's the cartoon? Okay, cool, whatever, man. You know, I don't get that, especially when it's something based on a fucking comic. What's comic books? Illustrations. What's animation? Drawings that move.
Who doesn't read comic books anymore?
I digress though. But you did like the Miles Morales, the Sony computer animated films.
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse and
the Spider-Verse. I haven't seen the other one.
Bushy, you have to, dude. Kane, tell him.
Yeah, definitely.
It's fucking awesome.
Is amazing.
What is it? Across the Spider-Verse?
Spider-Verse, yeah.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, man. And I think those I think the guys that write those movies, Sony ought to have them writing all their Spider-Man related films because they actually know the character, they know the history, they know the lore, they know what the fuck they're doing. Unlike, you know, I don't know. I'm very like, okay, so we're gonna have these movies about Spider-Man villains without Spider-Man. Fucking stupid. Okay. Like Craven's gonna suck. I'm gonna say it right now. Craven's gonna suck, just like Morbius sucked, just like all of them suck. Okay, yeah. They're not that good. They're not. Yeah. You know, and they're just
Morbius. That's a vampire dude, right?
Yeah, and I love great character. I love the character, but they just
40 minutes into that bitch turned it off.
Yeah, I mean, I just and I hear Madame Web is like so bad it's unwatchable.
Wow.
And again, that's why you're taking these characters from the Spider-Man corner of the Marvel universe and you're making but it's just, I mean, because see, that's the thing. People have to understand when Marvel made the deal for Sony, they did that when they were bankrupt. And get this, here's something that's really fucked up. They actually offered Sony their entire library of characters.
Wow.
At the time, Sony thought that shit was worthless. They just wanted Spider-Man and nothing else. Boy, I bet they're kicking themselves in the ass now, huh?
Right. But yeah, as far as this new DCU, I'll give it a chance. I'll see what I come up with. I mean,
as I said, one of the things that I do like about it is the fact that they have their own studios, they're their own thing. That he has a plan. I'm willing to give it a chance.
Sure.
As I said, I am kind of like, man, I don't know that costume. And then not only that, but I'm like, because I really did like, what I would love to see happen. I don't know if it ever will, probably not, but there are rumors that Comcast, and that's, I believe, the people that own Universal and NBC, you know, they got streaming stuff. They're wanting to, because see, it was really shrewd of them when they put Zack Snyder's Justice League. That kind of makes it its own individual IP.
Right.
There's rumors that they're wanting to buy that version and have Zack finish his story. That's what I would love to see happen. I mean, you're already doing multiple guys back. Yeah, you know, because I would love to see Zack finish his story. He had, and I think that's one of the reasons why he was, you know, they hired him, but he, much like Nolan had 3 Batman films in mind. These guys, Zack had 5 movies in mind.
Right.
And there was supposed to be a beginning, a middle, and an end, and that was it. And I would love to see I would love to see his Justice League 2 and 3. I'm not gonna lie. I would love to see that, you know. I'm hoping maybe we'll get our cake and eat it too. Some people say, oh, it'll never happen. Well, you know what? Nobody ever thought we was going to see Zack Snyder's version of that movie. And if we were, it was going to be like Superman 2, 30 years later with the Donner cut, you know? And we got to see it and it was fucking amazing. So I'm hoping something like that does happen. I'm hoping that because right now Warner Brothers is hurting for money. So if Comcast or Netflix or somebody comes up with a bunch of cash and go, hey man, we just want these versions of this character, they're going to make money. The people that, you know, everybody's happy and you get both versions. You get, because the thing is especially with the multiverse, they've already said there's a multiverse with DC too, which really they're the guys that started it in the comic books anyway.
Right.
Why can't you? There is no reason why you can't. There really isn't, you know. it would be amazing if Zach could finish his version and then James does his thing. And then you got Reeves with the Batman and everybody's happy, man. Like, because these characters they're open to different interpretations, man.
Yeah.
As I've gotten older, I've gotten a lot more open-minded because I was very like, I felt like this has to be like, I ain't gonna lie, I was that fanboy. Like, this is fucking text. This is sacred text, and you don't change it. You don't fuck with it. You don't. As I've gotten older, I also realized that with something like a comic book that's a monthly thing, you can't tell 30, some of these characters have been around for fucking multiple decades, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years of comic book continuity into one film. You can't do it. Exactly. I've often thought that, again, with streaming, I don't understand why we don't get more like live action TV shows on some of these characters. You're doing the Penguin. Why can't we have Batman? Why? Right. There is no reason why they can't do a Batman series. They could do it.
I've always wondered why they haven't done a Batman series.
And it would make and to me it would make more sense because what are comic books? Serialized fiction. Right. What's a television series? Serialized fiction with a cliffhanger.
You know, they give you Gotham, and I thought that was a great series.
Yeah, and I'm all right with that. I'm all right with Pennyworth. I'm all right, but it's like they'll do these Batman-centric shows without Batman. It's like, why are you guys so afraid to do a Batman show? You got a Superman show. They had a few Superman shows. I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm like, why can't you have both? There's no reason why you can't. And again, Disney, I want to smack them. Let's see a Spider-Man series, like an actual series from, like, because again, it would make more sense. You're telling, comic books are a serial story. Yeah. So wouldn't it make more sense to do live action animation series based on?
I would like a Fantastic Four series.
Yeah, all of, dude, let's do all of it. And now maybe they don't get to make the money, I mean, I guess with streaming it's different. I don't know how all that works. Right. Maybe that's one of the reasons why. But you're spending all this money on things like Agatha All Along, and I'm like, really? And that's nothing. Even though I did like WandaVision for the most part, even though it was weird as fuck, and I'm going, what's going on here? But as it got going, I'm like, oh, okay. There were some things that bugged me about it. Like they make Agatha Harkness a bad guy, and she was never really a bad guy. So even Marvel takes liberties with its own source material,
I didn't get past the first episode of that fucking show.
Yeah, it's weird, Bushy. I know what you mean. It is, but when it got going and you get into it and you realize, I mean, I knew what was going on. Obviously, it wasn't real, but that's part of Wanda's powers. Her power is to be able to warp reality, to make things the way she wants them to be. Yeah. And that's what she was doing. But
she's a little overpowered.
Well, and the thing is she kind of loses it. I mean, I don't know if you watched Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but what happens to the Scarlet Witch was kind of sad because she does kind of go down a dark path, right? Unfortunately, and that was out of the comic books. But be that as it may, I'm hopeful. And as far as like Marvel, the only thing I want to say about that is I'm really stoked that Downey Jr. is coming back, and the Russo brothers are going to be doing the next 2 Avengers films because they've made the best Marvel films. So I'm hoping that the quality with Marvel is going to get better now too. And I think
he's going to nail Dr. Doom.
I do too. Dude, Robert Downey Jr. nails everything. I mean, he is an amazing actor, and I've been a fan way before he played Iron Man. Yeah. Like I've loved Robert Downey Jr. forever. Even when he was a fucked up hot mess, I'm like, dude's. In fact, I used to worry about him. I'm like, man, I hope this guy don't OD because he's incredibly talented. Right. It saddens me when I see these talent like Tom Sizemore, great actor, and he fucking ODs on heroin. It's just like.
Yeah.
So Philip Seymour Hoffman
played a black dude and had me convinced he was a fucking black dude.
Oh yeah, Tropic Thunder is great.
Yeah, it is. I still can't believe they made that movie.
That was Robert the whole time.
At the time, you could make that movie. You couldn't make that movie today. People would lose their fucking minds.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think the DCU. We'll see what happens. I'm excited. They definitely they get me to watch. I don't always like it, and more often than not, I don't.
And I'm just hoping that at least with leadership, we'll get some kind of consistency. Now, it might not be what we like, but it's like, because to me, that's been my biggest problem with DC. There's no consistency. Yeah. For every good movie, you have some that are mediocre and some that are just downright shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like even with the DCU, like you had Man of Steel was pretty good. I thought Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition, was really good.
Wonder Woman was great.
Wonder Woman was great. The second Wonder Woman was
1984 was a little weird.
right. But that's the thing. It's been inconsistent. It hasn't been, you know, I think Lucasfilm with Star Wars is a bigger argument for that. I mean, they really are rudderless. Well, I don't know, they're not rudderless. They want I know what's going on with that, and that's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, I think this was a good talk. Kain, I want to thank you for joining us, man.
No problem, man. Anytime.
And you know, before we go though, we always do a plug of the week. Since this is a Nerdgasms episode, is there anything in that realm? It can be video games, animated movies, series, cartoons. Plug something that you really like.
I have to think about that. Cyberpunk Edge Runners
Netflix, right?
on Netflix. Yeah,
I'm gonna watch that. Right now, I'm watching something else that I am gonna plug, even though I'm not done with it. When I get done with that, I'm gonna watch that series. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it's done by Western and Eastern, like, collaboration.
Well, if you could give Bushy the name again so he can check it out. Do you have Netflix, Bush?
Check it out.
Yeah. My daughter actually bought it. So.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He doesn't like cartoons. Never mind. Fuck you, Bushy. Okay, moving on.
He's already made up his mind. He ain't gonna check it out. It could be.
What's it called again? Cyberpunk
Edge Runners.
It looks pretty fucking badass and graphically violent. I love graphically violent stuff.
Adult as shit. It's adult as shit.
Oh yeah, just like, and you know, hey, I love John Wick. So Bushy, is there anything that you want to plug that's related to Nerdgasm type stuff?
Yeah, I'm currently reading this.
Nice.
This is all of Robert E. Howard's original stories, the ones that appeared in those magazines and such when he was trying to get written. Obviously, you know, I'm working on it, about halfway through reading The Pool of the Black One. Is that what it's called? Yeah, The Pool of the Black One is the one I'm on right now. Classic Robert E. Howard. And when you go and watch the Conan movies, I tell you what, you get so disappointed because it's like it's right, but it's not right. But the interesting thing is you'll find things from these stories, even the Momoa version, that scene where he's talking to the chick and he says, I live, I love, and I slay. That's from one of these stories, you know, so
yes,
pulled right from the.
Oh yeah, they have their moments, and like I said, don't get me wrong, I do like the original Conan film overall. I enjoyed it as a kid. I do like it. I know some people think it's the best, you know, like, but then I'm like, okay, but have any of you ever read the Conan books or the comics?
Yeah.
And no, well, okay then, you know, because as cool as it was, it could have been better.
Could have been a lot better.
You know, and
James Earl Jones, Thulsa Doom from the original Conan the Barbarian.
Yes, which was a great villain, even in the books or the short stories by Robert E. Howard. Robert E. Howard, one of the things I loved about him was his prose. He was almost poetic. He was just so fucking good.
He would paint the way Robert E. Howard writes.
He paints words with picture, or he paints pictures with words. Absolutely. That's the way he writes.
Yeah.
Now here's an author that I want to turn you on to, Bushy. If you're a big Robert E. Have you ever heard of a guy named Carl Edward Wagner?
No.
Check out Kain with a K. If you want, I'll send you a couple of links. This guy was a huge horror fan, and he was a huge fan of Robert E. Howard. He had a character that's kind of like Conan, but kind of not, because not only is he a badass physical specimen like Conan, but he uses magic too. And Kane's not really a good guy, and they kind of hint that he could very well be the biblical Cain who killed his brother.
Nice.
It's Chris, Kain, am I lying, dude?
I got my name from that guy. All right, so check it out.
Yes. Great stuff, man. If you love Conan, I mean, it bums me that and his story kind of mirrors Robert E. Howard, Carl Edward Wagner. I think it's a shame because he even edited a few Conan books. I'm like, I would have loved to have seen him maybe get the rights to Conan or have a Conan meets Cain story. It would have been amazing.
Right.
because in fact, some of the Frazetta covers, he's the red-haired dude, that's Kain.
Okay, gotcha.
If you know who I'm talking about, the red-headed Viking looking dude, that's Kain. I highly, highly recommend that you check those out. I will look him up after we get done, and I'll send you a link so you can check out his stuff, man, because he is great.
A book I've been reading, and I kind of consider this my Bible.
Nice.
The Art of War, Sun Tzu. All right, man. As far as me, my Nerdgasm plug, that was one to you, Bushy, but overall there's a series on Apple TV called Dark Matter. I've watched the first 3 episodes. It's 9-part series based on a book. If you love stories, especially ones that involve alternate realities and mind fucks, watch this show. It's really, really cool. If you have Apple TV, if you don't, you might have to try to find another way. I don't know. I'm not going to get into all that, but I highly, highly recommend it. I'm in 3 episodes and I cannot wait to see how this ends. And they've already picked up a 2nd season. My dad told me, hey, check it out. You're going to like it. Another series that you might like from Apple is Foundation, based on the Isaac Asimov novels. Yeah. Really, really cool stuff. David Goyer is the showrunner for that. And if you don't know, David Goyer is the guy who pretty much wrote the screenplays for the Dark Knight trilogy. So he knows his stuff when it comes to science fiction and comic books.
Nice.
And that's my Nerdgasm pick of the week, or plug of the week, I should say.
All right. Sweet. All right, guys. Kain, thank you so much for being here.
No problem, man.
We have to work something out where we can hear you better, because when Mike's talking, and Mike doesn't shut up.
I know. I felt like I was talking over him, and I wasn't meaning to, but he would be talking, but I couldn't hear him. So I was always like, what'd you say, dude? What'd you say? So I am sorry about that. We're going to get you a better mic, kid.
Okay.
He had a good mic, but it crapped out on you, didn't it?
It was never very good either. I'm using this snowball mic that you gave me.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Yeah. I have one of those.
All right, we'll work on that. We'll work on that. We'll work on that, kid. We'll try to get you a better condenser, okay?
I'd like a decent webcam. I mean, this thing is
yeah, we need to get you a new webcam too, because you look like you're an extra on that 70s show.
I know, I look like I'm smoking up fucking weed up the ass.
And you'd be like, hey man, it's too bad we can't take the cameras and like shift to each one of us and be like, oh, and do our little homage to that 70s and 90s shows. But anyway, man, all I gotta say is keep fighting the good fight and stay metal to your dying breath. We will see you on the next one.
Absolutely.
Stay metal.
Yeah, stay metal. Hell yeah. Motherfuckers buy vinyl. We'll see you next week.
I think that was pretty good stuff, guys. Thank you, Kain.
No problem, man.
Like I said, but